Hello and welcome. You're watching the weekend edition of Left, Right and Centre. I'm Osama Shah. Tonight on the show, we bring you a special discussion on what is developing in Bangladesh. The tensions between India and Bangladesh, it has reached a boiling point. The brutal killing of a Hindu leader in Dhaka, it has sparked outrage and condemnation, with India calling out Bangladesh's government for failing to protect the minority communities. But at the same time, the Congress is worried about the minorities in Bangladesh. Mr. Kharge, he said that Hindu leader's murder, it proves that the Prime Minister Modi and Muhammad Yunus's meeting was indeed a failure, highlighting that 76 attacks have taken place on Hindus in the past 2 months alone. The Ministry of External Affairs, it says that this shows a pattern of systematic persecution of minorities in Bangladesh, referring to the death of the Hindu leader there. Tonight, we delve into the escalating crisis and its far-reaching implications. We'll explore the reactions from the Congress Party's criticism and the BJPs' response. Is this a case of systematic persecution or just a flashpoint in a complex relationship? The fate of minority communities, it hangs in the balance. Will diplomacy prevail or will tensions escalate further? We'll try and get those answers from our guest. At the moment, I'm currently joined by Raj Lakshmi Joshi, a political analyst, also a BJP supporter. I have Meeta Chakrabarti, spokesperson of the Congress. And I also have Rabinder Sachdev, foreign affairs experts. A very warm welcome to everyone. Let me start with you, Meeta Chakrabarti. Mr. Kharge, he has called out this particular meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Muhammad Yunus. He has labelled it ineffective. He has also cited 76 killings of the minorities. What exactly is the critique here of the Indian government's diplomacy?
Good evening to all your viewers and good evening to my fellow co-panelists as well. Firstly, we strongly condemn the killing of Bhabesh Chandra Roy in Dinajpur in Bangladesh, who was a prominent Hindu community leader there. And it is not an isolated incident. It's a reflection of the growing sense of insecurity among Hindus and the religious minorities in the country of Bangladesh. We saw what happened last year in August 2024 itself. There had been more than 2,000 incidents of communal violence. There had been more than 1,700 families who were affected. There were more than 150 Hindu families whose shops and establishments and homes were vandalized and brutally attacked. So there has been a very systematic target killing and target attack and hate crime that has been going on against the Hindu minorities. And we strongly urge the government of the day, the Indian government to take notice of this and to act with a lot of urgency. Because I know that there are diplomatic talks ongoing. And it's not about doing politics over it, but we are concerned as the principal opposition party in India. And we would urge the government of the day to take all necessary steps. I mean, be it in diplomatic steps, be it building pressure from the international community, be it, if required, building in economic sanctions, take strong measures so that the message gets loud and clearly communicated. I personally come from a family that migrated during partition from Tangail in Bangladesh. We still have Hindu family members and Hindu relatives living on the other side. So we are deeply concerned. We stand with our Hindu brothers and sisters in Bangladesh, and we stand with all those who believe in social justice, who believe in equality, who believe in secular ethos, and who believe that justice should be given to these victims. And we strongly urge that there should be a fair probe done as why Bhabesh Chaudhary was first of all picked up from his house. And under what circumstances was he killed? He was a very prominent Hindu leader who was responsible for conducting Durga Puja and other such religious festivals in Bangladesh. So we need a fair probe. We need the culprits should be booked. And we need stronger actions, more proactive actions from the government of the day. We need more proactive actions from government of India.
But what is your critique of the Indian government's diplomacy?
In Bangladesh.
Meeta Chakrabarti, what is your critique of the Indian government's diplomacy? Because Mr. Kharge, he has said that Muhammad Yunus and Prime Minister Modi's meeting, it was a complete failure.
because the killing and the target killing and the attacks on the Hindu minorities in Bangladesh is just not coming to an end. As I said, that
Okay.
this is just not an isolated incident. It should
Okay.
be looked to the overall context and look at what happened. And after Sheikh Hasina was taken out of power, look at the series of incidents that had been happening in Bangladesh every now and then. And we have been protesting here on the streets in front of Bangladesh High Commission in Kolkata as well from Congress Party. And we are deeply concerned about their rights, and we want their rights and their dignity to be protected.
Okay. Rajalakshmi Joshi, do respond to what Meeta Chakrabarti has said. And how does the BJP respond to these allegations that Prime Minister Modi is meeting with Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, the interim caretaker of the Bangladesh government? It was a complete failure in addressing that minority issue in Bangladesh.
Good evening, Osama. And, at the outset, let me just remind everyone that the approach of the Modi government in the last so many years has always been, to be this Vishwa Bandhu or this Vishwa Mitra. So that has been the approach. And also, our relations with Bangladesh have been completely phenomenal. In fact, we were instrumental in the formation of Bangladesh. So our situation, the way in which India has always approached Bangladesh has been completely different. Whether it may be about giving it the facilities of infrastructure for their trade, or there have been a lot of ways in which India has gone out of its way to be able to help Bangladesh. So, but now the situation right now is that Bangladesh is on a very hostile note, and in spite of that, it is. I think it is actually it is very appreciable that Prime Minister Modi, he maintained a very dignified and a very elegant approach towards speaking with President Yunus, the acting head. Because see, you cannot really burn bridges. Right now, you need all the support and cooperation that you can from this government, even though it may be a puppet of the deep state of the US. So even in spite of the fact that it may be a completely hostile and a very anarchical government, in spite of all of that, we need all the support that we can. And India, I think, has been responding in other ways, in the way in which they have actually denied the transshipment facility. So that
But
actually
Rajalakshmi Joshi, what the
hurts.
opposition is asking you and the government is, what steps, what concrete steps is the Indian government taking in order to address the concerns of the minority communities there, particularly Hindus?
Osama, that is exactly what I was telling you right now. That, India has been pinching Bangladesh exactly where it hurts. So, as a fact, that Bangladesh has definitely had a lot of economic concerns. And right now, their garment department, their garment factories are all completely in a lot of chaos. So, at that time, stopping the transshipment facility actually pinches them where it actually hurts. So, and it is no secret, in spite of the reasons that India has given, saying that this is because of the Indian exporters and because of the logistic problems. In spite of that, we all know and everybody knows that it is only because of the hostility of the Bangladesh government, and the Bangladesh government definitely is going to feel this pinch. And in spite of all the tall claims that Bangladesh is making about how they rule the seas and how they are actually in charge and how they actually are able to cut off the northeastern states, in fact, they are dependent on India for a whole lot of reasons. So they actually cannot afford to bear the brunt of all these restrictions that India has been putting on Bangladesh. So that is how, on one hand, India is showing a very friendly stance, and at the same time, and also condemning all the
But this
killing.
friendly stance is not working at the moment, isn't it? This friendly stance is not working. Let me get a response from Meeta Chakrabarti before I go to Mr. Ravinder Sajdev. Meeta Chakrabarti, how does the Congress party think India should be engaging with Bangladesh in order to address this particular issue?
Okay, so first of all, we obviously want friendly neighbors, but when the political organization that claims to be very focused on Hindu supremacy and protection of rights of Hindu communities When Hindus are getting targeted in our neighboring country, they are getting brutally killed, they are getting abducted, and their businesses, their shops are being torched, and their businesses are being affected, their livelihood is being affected, their dignity is being affected, Hindu temples have been vandalized, then how can the current government stay mum and say that we are just trying to have a friendly dialogue with the neighboring country? Because sometimes when the friendliness has not worked, you need to take stronger diplomatic action. You can probably try and build more pressure from the international community. There can be economic sanctions, there can be restrictions on trade relationship, there can be other measures as well, which cannot be ruled out, which includes military measures if absolutely needed. We are not suggesting that at this stage. That stage has not been reached. But much before we go there, there are so many other diplomatic methods and economic sanctions that can be brought in order to send out a very strong message to
All
a
right.
country that is obviously not listening to our friendly dialogues.
All right. We'll get a response from Rajalakshmi Joshi. But before that, I'll go to Ravinder Sachdev. Mr. Sachdev, what are the potential implications of this escalating tension between the two countries, especially on regional stability and the diplomacy there?
Well, thank you so much. A pleasure to be with you. The potential implications are actually not very rosy. I mean, rather they're worrying. Without doubt, they're worrying. But at times what happens, time is a factor. So let's come back overall. So at present, things are definitely worrying. The scenarios which could build up can be really, really very worrying for India. Bangladesh could go down the route of a Pakistan in terms of, domestic turbulence, move towards a hardline Islam, which is okay. I mean, we are not bothered. You may be hardline Islam, you may be hardline Christian, whichever nation. But the point is that the minorities, and especially our Hindu brothers and sisters, should be, duly, should not be second-rate citizens.
Yeah.
Whichever you go.
And the thing
Now
is, Bangladesh is cozying up to Pakistan. We saw that meeting that recently concluded. We are seeing how they are cozying up to China as well. So it is alarming. It is concerning.
Oh, absolutely, it's cozying up to Pakistan. That's another dimension. Right? It's definitely cozying up to Pakistan, cozying up to China, creating itself as a geopolitical, leverage point, etc. So all that is there. But coming back to this one. Firstly, a few points came up in this discussion, I would say. See, one meeting in diplomacy does not the world change, right? We know it and we've seen it over the last 100 years. All meetings with world leaders, they lead to things step by step by step. So one meeting can never be, a game changer generally, I would assume. So Prime Minister Modi's meeting, I look at it in that spirit. It was a step, has to be done. Okay, one. Secondly, in terms of pressure from international communities, you see, we face some variables or, vectors. One, we do not necessarily want international organizations interfering in this matter. Okay, UN High Commission for Refugees maybe, etc. Because you see, it's a bilateral matter. Otherwise, these presidents, tomorrow something is happening in India, Bangladesh or Nepal or Sri Lanka goes to another international institution and says that, look here, you intervened on their behalf there. Come now look into this. So the same reason we do not want the India-Pakistan dispute going to any international forum. That's why we do not want any international interference in this matter overall. But yes, absolutely, international pressure can be leveraged, and I have a specific point on that I'll come to. Okay, maybe right now, maybe I would say. It depends how we play it in a nuance. See, in Bangladesh, it's not only Hindus who are getting persecuted, killed, prosecuted, etc. Second-class citizens. Christians also are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. In our messaging and what could be happening, in the back doors or behind the doors, in terms of international, we do know now that Trump is in power and is heavily indebted to the evangelical Christians. Okay. So once they realize that Christians in Bangladesh are also, the target of these Islamic fundamentalists, the US would also get in the play. So that would be one thing I think which India would be triangulating, should be triangulating.
All right. Rajalakshmi Joshi, you want to come in? Please make your point.
Osama, I just want to remind you that, President Trump has in no he has not diluted his words at all. He has very strongly condemned the killings of Hindus, and he has strongly condemned the violence against Hindus, and that has come after his meetings and talks with Prime Minister Modi. So that is the influence of Prime Minister Modi, obviously. So it is actually something very surprising that he has spoken about it in such strong words. So if that is not international pressure, then what is? He has put such a strong tariff on Bangladesh. I mean, obviously he has put tariffs on a lot of the countries. I mean, almost all countries. But then that notwithstanding, right now if you see that there is a lot of pressure on Bangladesh in terms of economic pressures. So, like I was talking about how their trade routes have been definitely restricted, and obviously they are already threatened because of the that they are very dependent on our trans regional trade. So in spite of that, actually India has actually put on a very strong stand there, and India has also very strongly condemned the violence against Hindus time and again. But
Rajlakshmi
and also
Joshi, this
was
pressure that
actually-
you're talking about, these sanctions and pressures that you're talking about, it's not showing its result on the ground. People are getting killed, Hindus are getting killed there, and that is what the problem is.
Yes, Osama, see, that is exactly the reason why I would say that it took a lot of great vision. In fact, the Congress itself had actually proposed this thing about the CAA, and then when the Bharatiya Janata Party came out with the CAA, which was actually supposed to be safeguarding these persecuted Hindus and other religious minorities from all these countries, at that time I am shocked as to why and how the Congress can put up such a strong stand against the CAA, which is meant to protect these Hindus. And also the Congress seems to be turning a very blind eye and is not very firm about what they talk about, what is happening with the Hindus in Bengal. So when they talk about all these things in a political way, it actually takes away their entire strength.
Mita
of the
Chakrabarti, I'll come
matter.
to you. I'll come to you, Mita Chakrabarti.
That is a kind of a hypocrisy. I would look at it as only trying to score political brownie points.
Okay.
If they actually are interested, then stand up strongly for NRC.
All
Stand
right.
up strongly for the CAA. Stand up for the Hindus in Bengal as well. So then don't take chances selectively. Don't take your don't make don't
All right,
make
all right.
all these decisions
And I must not
selectively.
allow
All
that
right,
to
Mita
happen.
Chakrabarti, please make your point. Please make your
Yes.
point
So
before I
first of all,
go to Rabinder Sajdev.
Regarding Hindus in Bengal, regarding the Murshidabad riot where 2 Hindus and 1 Muslim individual got killed and several other got injured, let me not allow your platform to be a platform to peddle misinformation and lies. Congress had absolutely no uncertain terms, had condemned this incident. We have been out on the streets. As I speak, the Congress MP from South Malda, which has Samsherganj, where the incident had taken place, our PCC President Shubhankar Shotkar and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary had been on the ground. We have been appealing for peace, and we have been appealing for peace for both Hindus and for both Muslims. Because
Okay.
Osama, can I just
Murshidabad
put a
riot
point?
is something
Can I
that we
just
have
put
been
a
out on the streets, and
Yeah.
I have been personally debating every single day on national media against the Murshidabad riots. So please get your information correct
All right.
before you
All right.
speak on a debate.
All
And
right,
secondly,
Mr.
it
Sajdev,
was our
I'm
purpose-
extremely sorry. Unfortunately, we're running short of time. Let Mr. Sajdev make his final point. Sir, how can India balance its diplomatic relations with Bangladesh at the same time while protecting the interests of minority communities?
Thank you. It's a matrix. There's no silver bullet to it. There'll be multiple vectors. One of the ways is definitely, which I think the government must be trying working. You see, like the water sharing treaty, right? With the government, okay, fine. We are going ahead. We are accommodating with you. You accommodate us there. But you see, that throws up a variable that how effective Yunus is. Yunus, sure, maybe a soft, a socialist viewpoint guy, but how much of real power does he hold and be able to enforce law and order? Secondly, in terms of strict actions against Bangladesh, economic sanctions, we remember what happened with Nepal when in the 2015 or 16 we had an economic blockade. Those things leave long-term memories which are not good for our relations. We have to acknowledge we are the big brother in this subcontinent, but we have to look at the example of Maldives and Sri Lanka, which have both turned around over a period of time. We have to keep our balance, but definitely, yes, we have to be like a duck. calm on the
That's a
calm on the
fantastic
surface,
point
but
that you have made, Mr.
paddling
Sajid.
like hell below the water.
Yep.
Our track 2-3 diplomacy, our intelligence, doing whatsoever within Bangladesh, it has to be a mix of multiple factors. But be like a duck.